Let's get right into it. Number 17, the Ikea Effect. You just spent 4 hours assembling a bookshelf that looks like it was designed by someone who hates both books and shelves. It's slightly crooked, one of the dowels is backwards, and there's a mysterious extra screw that serves no purpose. But when your friend suggests you should have bought a pre-assembled one, you get defensive. This bookshelf is perfect, actually. It has character. Your brain has decided this janky furniture is valuable specifically because you suffered through building it. This is the Ikea effect. People assign disproportionately high value to things they partially created, regardless of quality. Your brain doesn't care that the bookshelf is objectively worse. It cares that you invested time and effort. So loss aversion kicks in. This applies to ideas, projects, and relationships too. Your brain makes bad decisions by convincing you that effort equals value. Sometimes you just built a crooked bookshelf, and pretending it's art doesn't make it true. Number 16, the availability heuristic. Someone mentions plane crashes and suddenly you're convinced flying is a death trap. Never mind that you drive to work every day where car accidents kill exponentially more people. Your brain isn't interested in statistics. It remembers vivid news footage of plane crashes with dramatic music and wreckage. And if you can remember it clearly, it must happen all the time, right? Wrong. This is the availability heuristic. Your brain judges probability based on how easily examples come to mind rather than actual data. Memorable things aren't necessarily common things. Plane crashes make news because they're rare and dramatic. Car accidents barely get reported, but your brain uses mental shortcuts, asking, "Can I think of an example?" If yes, it assumes it's common. This is how you end up terrified of shark attacks while ignoring heart disease. You're making decisions based on what you happen to hear about recently, not what's actually likely to happen. Number 15, the spotlight effect. You spill coffee on your shirt right before an important meeting. Your brain immediately panics, convinced everyone will notice, judge you, and remember this moment forever. You spend the entire meeting positioning folders to hide the stain, convinced all eyes are on your chest. Here's the thing, nobody noticed. Or if they did, they forgot 17 seconds later. But your brain doesn't know that because it's trapped in the spotlight effect. You massively overestimate how much others pay attention to you. You're the center of your own universe, noticing everything about yourself with full emotional intensity. So your brain assumes everyone else is noticing too. They're not. They're busy worrying about their own problems. Research shows people overestimate by a factor of 2 how many others notice something embarrassing. You think half the room saw your stain? Maybe 3 people noticed and 2 already forgot. You're not special enough to be watched that closely. Number 14, the planning fallacy. You've got a project due in 2 weeks. You plan it out and your brain confidently says it'll take maybe 3 days of solid work. You've done similar projects before. You're being realistic. Fast forward 2 weeks later, you're pulling an all-nighter, stress eating cold pizza, wondering how you ended up here again. The answer is the planning fallacy. Your brain's unshakable belief that this time, unlike every other time in history, everything will go according to plan. Your brain consistently underestimates how long tasks take, despite mountains of evidence that projects always take longer. Even when reminded of past delays and asked to account for problems, people still predict the current project will finish on schedule. Your brain genuinely believes previous delays were flukes, but this time, nothing will go wrong, except everything does. You get sick, files corrupt, tasks are more complex than anticipated. Your brain makes bad decisions by being pathologically optimistic about timelines. Number 13, recency bias. Your favorite basketball player misses 3 shots in a row, and suddenly everyone's saying he's washed up, should retire. Never mind his 15 years of excellence and last year's championship. Those 3 missed shots just happened. They're fresh in everyone's mind, and brains across the stadium now think this is the new reality. This is recency bias. Your brain gives disproportionate weight to recent information while ignoring broader context and historical patterns. Your brain is lazy with limited working memory, so when making judgments, it grabs whatever's most readily available, usually whatever happened most recently. The stock market had a bad week, time to panic and sell everything, ignoring decades of trends showing markets recover. Your partner was cranky this morning, suddenly you're questioning the entire relationship, forgetting 3 years of happiness. This makes you incredibly reactive and unstable. You're constantly overreacting to the latest data point while ignoring the actual trend. Number 12, the halo effect. You meet someone attractive. Within seconds, your brain decides they're probably also intelligent, kind, trustworthy, and good at their job. You have zero evidence. You literally just looked at their face, but your brain already constructed an entire personality profile based on nice cheekbones. This is the halo effect. One positive trait creates a halo that makes you assume other positive traits exist too. Someone's attractive, they must be competent. Someone's well-spoken, they're probably honest. Someone went to a prestigious school, they're definitely smart. Your brain takes one piece of positive information and runs with it, extrapolating wildly and filling in gaps with optimistic assumptions that have no basis in reality. This isn't just about physical appearance. It works with any trait your brain codes as positive. This is how incompetent people get hired because they interviewed well. This is how charismatic con artists gain trust. You're not reading people accurately. You're just falling for the packaging.
Number 11, groupthink. 8 people sit in a conference room. Someone suggests an obviously terrible idea. Expensive, complicated, unlikely to work. Everyone knows it's bad, but one by one, people start nodding, adding supportive comments, building on the flawed concept. By the meeting's end, the terrible idea has become the official plan, and nobody said a word against it. This isn't cowardice, it's groupthink. Your brain prioritizes social harmony over correct decisions. Groupthink happens when groups value consensus so much, they suppress dissenting opinions, ignore warnings, and collectively make decisions no individual member would make alone. Your brain is hardwired to want to belong. It's a survival mechanism from when exile meant death. So in group settings, especially with strong leaders or established majority opinions, your brain goes into social preservation mode. Speaking up feels risky. Disagreeing feels like creating conflict. So you stay quiet, or worse, you actively support the bad idea to signal loyalty. Number 10, sunk cost circus. You've been watching a movie for an hour and 15 minutes. It's terrible. The plot makes no sense, the acting is worse than a middle school play, and the director seemingly forgot what story they were telling. But you keep watching. Why? Because you've already invested over an hour into this cinematic dumpster fire, and your brain decided that leaving now would be more wasteful than sitting through another 45 minutes of agony. This is the sunk cost fallacy. Your brain should make decisions based on future outcomes. What will benefit you going forward? But instead, it's obsessively looking backward at what you've already spent. Time, money, effort, emotional energy, and treating those past investments like they're still on the table. They're not. That hour is gone, murdered by bad cinema. But your brain doesn't care about logic when emotionally invested. It's like a gambler convinced the next pull will be the winner because they've already lost $300. Number 9, default mode autopilot. You're driving home from work and suddenly you're in your driveway with zero memory of the last 15 minutes. You don't remember the turns, stoplights, or whether you almost hit that guy on the bike. Your brain just zoned out and let muscle memory handle everything. This feels efficient until you realize your brain does this with way more important decisions than driving. Life's choices, relationships, career moves. Your brain loves throwing those on autopilot too. Scientists call this your default mode network, a fancy way of saying your brain has a screensaver that kicks in when you're not actively focused. During that mode, your brain runs on old patterns, past experiences, and whatever neural pathways are most worn in from repetition. It's energy efficient, but it also means you're making decisions based on outdated information and childhood conditioning. So when you stay in a job you hate or date someone clearly wrong for you, there's a decent chance your brain wasn't even fully online. Number 8. Present bias. There's a version of you that exists in the future. That person deals with the consequences of the burrito you are about to eat at 11 p.m. They wake up early for that meeting you're scheduling. They're responsible for the credit card bill from your current shopping spree. And here's the thing, your brain doesn't care about that person. Neurologically speaking, your brain processes future you the same way it processes a stranger. That's not a metaphor. Brain scans show that when you think about yourself in the future, the same regions light up as when you think about someone you don't know. You're literally throwing your problems at a stranger and calling it planning. This is present bias, and it's why you'll destroy your sleep schedule for one more episode, max out your credit card for shoes you'll wear twice, and promise yourself you'll start that project tomorrow, which becomes never. Your brain prioritizes immediate rewards because evolutionarily, the future was never guaranteed. Number 7, confirmation bias. Let's say you believe pineapple belongs on pizza. Someone tells you it doesn't. Instead of considering their perspective, your brain immediately goes into defense mode and starts scanning memory banks for every piece of evidence that supports your pineapple pizza worldview. That one time you had Hawaiian pizza and it was delicious? Front and center. The fact that millions of people order it? Suddenly very relevant. Any evidence against your position? Completely invisible. Doesn't exist. Your brain has actively decided to become a lawyer for your pre-existing beliefs, and it's not interested in a fair trial. This is confirmation bias, one of the sneakiest ways your brain sabotages good decision-making. Once you believe something, anything, your brain starts filtering information to match that belief. You notice things that confirm what you already think and conveniently ignore or downplay anything that contradicts it. It's not even intentional. Your brain is just trying to avoid cognitive dissonance, the uncomfortable mental static from holding two conflicting ideas. Number 6, paradox of choice. Imagine walking into an ice cream shop with 372 flavors. Sounds amazing, right? Wrong. You stand there paralyzed, overwhelmed by infinite possibilities, trying to calculate which combination of scoops will bring maximum happiness while simultaneously worrying you're about to make the wrong choice and ruin your entire day. 20 minutes later, you either walk out with nothing or pick vanilla because your brain just gave up.
This is your brain on too many options, and it's absolutely miserable at it. Psychologist Barry Schwartz called this the paradox of choice. More options lead to worse decisions and less satisfaction. When you have too many choices, your brain gets stuck in analysis paralysis. It can't commit because it's terrified of missing out on something better. And even if you do choose something, you're haunted by the ghost of all the other options you didn't pick. Studies show that people with fewer options are actually happier with their choices. Number 5, emotional hijacking. You're in a meeting. Someone says something slightly dismissive about your idea. It's not even that bad, just a casual comment. But suddenly, your brain is on fire. Your heart's racing, your face is hot, and you're no longer thinking about the project. You're thinking about how much you want to verbally destroy this person. Rational thought? Gone. Perspective? Non-existent. You're about to say something you'll regret, and your brain is cheering you on like a drunk friend at 2 a.m. Welcome to emotional hijacking, where your amygdala takes the wheel and drives your decision-making straight into a ditch. Your amygdala processes emotions, especially fear and anger. It's fast, reactive, and was designed to keep you alive when a lion was chasing you. The problem is it can't tell the difference between a lion and a mildly rude coworker. So when it perceives a threat, even a social one, it floods your system with stress hormones, shuts down your prefrontal cortex, and puts you in fight or flight mode. Number 4, Dunning-Kruger effect. There's a guy in your life who knows just enough about cars to be dangerous. He's never been a mechanic, never taken an automotive class, but he watched some YouTube videos and now he's under your hood with a wrench, confidently declaring that your spark plugs are fine and it's definitely the carburetor. Plot twist, your car doesn't have a carburetor, it's fuel injected. But he doesn't know that, and more importantly, he doesn't know that he doesn't know that. He's so incompetent that he can't even recognize his own incompetence. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect. When you don't know much about something, you lack the skills and knowledge to accurately assess your own abilities. So you end up wildly overestimating your competence because you don't even know what you don't know. You're at the peak of Mount Stupid, maximum confidence, minimum knowledge. Your brain is fully convinced you've got this figured out because it doesn't have the framework to recognize how much information is missing. Number 3, loss aversion. Let's say someone offers you a bet. Flip a coin. Heads you win $100, tails you lose $100. Mathematically, this is a perfectly neutral bet. 50-50 odds equal stakes, but you don't take it. Most people won't, even though rationally there's no reason not to. Why? Because your brain is wired to feel losses about twice as intensely as it feels gains. Losing $100 hurts way more than winning $100 feels good. And this imbalance is quietly ruining your decision-making in ways you don't even notice. Loss aversion is one of the most powerful cognitive biases humans have, and it makes you do absolutely ridiculous things to avoid losing something, even when avoiding the loss costs you more in the long run. You stay in a terrible job because leaving feels like losing stability. You hold on to a failing investment because selling would mean admitting a loss. Your brain treats loss like a threat. Number 2, anchoring bias. You walk into a store and see a jacket. The original price tag says $500, but it's on sale for $200. What a deal, right? You buy it feeling like a savvy shopper. Plot twist, that jacket was never worth $500. The store made that number up specifically to make $200 seem reasonable by comparison. And your brain fell for it completely because of anchoring bias. The first piece of information you receive becomes the reference point for everything that follows, even if that first piece of information is total nonsense. Your brain doesn't evaluate things in a vacuum. It needs context, a baseline, something to compare against. So when it encounters a number, a price, a suggestion, or even a wild guess, it latches onto that as an anchor, and then makes all future judgments relative to it. It doesn't matter if the anchor is accurate, logical, or completely made up. Once it's in your head, it distorts your perception of value. Number 1, optimism bias. You know smoking causes cancer.
You've seen the statistics, the warnings, the pictures of diseased lungs on cigarette packs, and yet smokers keep smoking, genuinely believing that somehow they'll be fine. They're the exception. Cancer happens to other people, not them. This isn't ignorance, it's optimism bias, and it's one of the most dangerous ways your brain makes bad decisions on purpose. Your brain is hardwired to believe that bad things are less likely to happen to you than to others, even when evidence says otherwise. Optimism bias isn't inherently bad. It's useful in small doses. It's what gets you out of bed believing today might be good. It lets you take risks, start businesses, fall in love, try new things despite possible failure. But your brain doesn't know when to turn it off. So the same mechanism that makes you hopeful also makes you reckless. You don't save for retirement because you'll probably be fine. You don't get that weird mole checked out because it's probably nothing. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.